The roar of 20,000 fans filled the Memphis Coliseum as Elvis Presley belted out the final notes of his encore performance. Sweat glistened under the blazing stage lights as he took his customary bow. But suddenly, the crowd's cheers transformed into gasps of disbelief. From the sea of faces in the front row, a woman in flowing white began walking toward the stage. Security rushed to intercept her, but Elvis froze, his microphone slipping from his trembling hand. As she stepped into the spotlight, the entire arena fell silent. The woman's face was impossible, her presence defying everything the world understood about life and death. In that electrifying moment, 20,000 witnesses would become part of the most mysterious event in rock and roll history. August 15, 1977, marked what would become one of the most talked-about concerts in Elvis Presley's career. The Memphis Coliseum was packed beyond capacity, with 20,000 devoted fans who had traveled from across the globe to see the king perform in his hometown. The energy was palpable from the moment the house lights dimmed and the opening chords of "That's All Right" echoed through the massive venue. Elvis appeared on stage in his iconic white jumpsuit, adorned with golden eagles and rhinestones that caught the spotlight like stars. Despite the rumors about his health, he seemed revitalized by the hometown crowd's enthusiasm. His voice soared through classics like "Hound Dog" and "Don't Be Cruel," while the audience sang along to every word, their voices creating a symphony of devotion that filled every corner of the arena. The stage production was spectacular, a full orchestra, backup singers, and lighting effects that transformed the performance into a multimedia experience. Colonel Parker watched from the wings, pleased with the sold-out crowd and the obvious connection between Elvis and his fans. This was vintage Elvis, the performer who had revolutionized popular music and continued to captivate audiences worldwide. As the concert progressed, Elvis moved through his greatest hits with a passion and charisma that had made him a legend. During "Love Me Tender," he walked to the edge of the stage, reaching out to touch the hands of fans in the front rows. The intimacy he created, even in such a massive venue, was part of his magic, the ability to make each person feel like he was singing directly to them. The crowd was electric, hanging on every note, every gesture, every smile. Cell phone cameras weren't yet invented, but thousands of flashbulbs created a constellation of light throughout the arena as fans captured memories of this unforgettable night. The atmosphere was charged with the kind of energy that only live music can create, a shared experience that bonded strangers through their love of Elvis's music. But as Elvis launched into what everyone assumed would be his final song of the evening, something extraordinary began to unfold. In the front row, center section, people began to notice a disturbance, not the usual pushing and screaming of excited fans, but something different. A woman was moving through the crowd with an unusual grace, as if the packed bodies simply parted for her without resistance. The woman moved through the crowd like a ghost through walls, her flowing white dress seeming to shimmer with its own light. Security guards stationed throughout the arena should have spotted her immediately, but somehow she moved undetected until she reached the very edge of the stage. It was then that the fans nearest to her began to gasp and point, their expressions shifting from excitement to bewilderment. Elvis, in the middle of "Can't Help Falling in Love," noticed the commotion in the front row. His trained performer's eye caught the unusual movement, and when he looked down, his voice faltered mid-note. The woman standing at the base of the stage was looking up at him with eyes he recognized instantly. Eyes that had watched him sleep as a child, eyes that had filled with pride at his first recording session, eyes that had closed forever in 1958. "Gladys?" He whispered, but the microphone picked up his stunned utterance and broadcast it across the arena. A woman smiled, and that smile sent shockwaves through the crowd. Those close enough to see her face clearly began to murmur in disbelief. She looked exactly like the photographs of Gladys Presley that had appeared in countless magazines and books, the same high cheekbones, the same gentle expression, the same maternal warmth that had shaped Elvis's early life. Security Chief Red West, station stage left, spoke into his radio. "We have a situation at center stage. Unknown female approaching the performer." But as he moved toward the woman, Elvis held up his hand, never taking his eyes off the impossible figure below. The massive crowd, sensing that something unprecedented was happening, began to quiet. The usual screaming and cheering subsided to a confused murmur as 20,000 people tried to understand what they were witnessing. The woman raised her hand toward Elvis, palm open in a gesture of love and recognition that mothers worldwide would understand. "Baby," she called out, her voice somehow carrying over the crowd noise without amplification, reaching not just Elvis, but the fans in the nearest rows. "I've come to see you perform one last time." Elvis dropped to one knee at the edge of the stage, bringing himself closer to the woman who claimed to be his mother, the mother who had died nearly 20 years earlier. Tears began streaming down his face, creating silver tracks that caught the stage lights. The sight of Elvis crying sent ripples of concern and confusion through the audience. The arena's massive video screens, installed for this special concert, captured every detail of the encounter and projected it to the furthest seats. 20,000 people watched in stunned silence as their idol came face to face with what appeared to be a ghost from his past. The woman in white began to walk around the stage's perimeter, her presence creating an otherworldly atmosphere that seemed to affect everyone in the arena. As she moved, the crowd fell into complete silence, a phenomenon that veteran concert security had never experienced with an Elvis audience. It was as if the very air had become charged with something beyond normal understanding. "Mama, how is this possible?" Elvis asked, his voice breaking with emotion, the microphone still active and carrying his words to every corner of the massive venue. "Love doesn't die." "Son," she replied, her voice now somehow amplified without any visible microphone. "It transcends time, space, and death itself. Tonight, in front of all these people who love you, I was given permission to deliver a message, not just to you, but to everyone here." The audience was mesmerized, some filming with primitive video cameras, others simply staring in disbelief. In the upper levels, fans pressed against the railings to get a better view of the impossible scene unfolding below. Security guards stood frozen, unsure how to handle a situation that defied all protocol and logic. Gladys continued her circuit around the stage, occasionally reaching up to touch Elvis's outstretched hand. Each contact sent visible waves of emotion across his face, as if he was drawing strength from her presence. "You've carried such guilt about my death, baby. But it was never your fault. The heart condition that took me was something I was born with. Your success, your love, your music, none of that caused my passing." The crowd listened with rapt attention as this impossible conversation continued. Many began to cry, moved by the raw emotion and the supernatural nature of what they were witnessing. Parents held their children closer, couples reached for each other's hands, and strangers found themselves connected by this shared experience that none of them would ever forget. I've watched from beyond as you've struggled with loneliness, with the pressure of fame, with substances that promise relief but deliver only more pain, Gladys continued, her words carrying a weight it seemed to reach into the soul of every person present. "But look around you, son. Look at these faces. These people don't love you for your problems. They love you for the joy you bring, for the music that touches their hearts, for the humanity you show, even in your struggles." Elvis turned to look at his audience, seeing them as if for the first time. 20,000 faces looked back at him with love, concern, and acceptance. In their eyes, he saw not judgment but compassion, not demands but support. As the supernatural encounter continued, Gladys began to address not just Elvis, but the entire audience. Her voice carried to every seat in the massive arena, creating an intimate connection despite the vast space. "You are all witnesses tonight to something greater than entertainment," she said, her words seeming to speak directly to each individual heart. "Music has the power to heal, to unite, to transform lives. My son has been blessed with a gift, but that gift was meant to be shared, not just through recordings or performances, but through the love and connection you all feel right now. This is why he was born. This is his purpose." The crowd was completely silent now, hanging on every word. Even the technical crew, the security guards, and the venue staff had stopped their work to listen. This was no longer a concert. It had become something approaching a spiritual experience for everyone present. Elvis, still kneeling at the stage edge, looked up at his mother with the wonder of a child. "What do I do now, Mama? How do I carry on?" "You remember this moment," she replied, gesturing to the sea of faces before them. "You remember that you're not alone. These people, your family, your true friends, they're here because they believe in the love you represent through your music. When the darkness comes, when the loneliness threatens to consume you, remember tonight. Remember that love is stronger than fear, stronger than addiction, stronger even than death." She turned to address the audience directly. "And you, all of you who love my son, remember that he's human. He needs your prayers, your support, your understanding. Don't put him so high on a pedestal that he can't reach down for help when he needs it. Love him for who he is, not just what he can do for you." The massive crowd began to respond, not with screams or cheers, but with a gentle applause that built into something resembling a prayer. 20,000 people united in this impossible moment, showing their love and support for the man on stage who had given them so much joy over the years. As dawn began to break outside the arena, though no one inside seemed aware of the passing time, Gladys began to fade, her white dress becoming translucent in the stage lights. "I have to go now, baby. But remember, I'm always with you. In every song, in every moment of joy you create, in every life you touch with your music." Elvis reached out desperately, trying to hold on to the vision of his mother, but she was already becoming ethereal, like morning mist dissolving in sunlight. With a final smile and a blown kiss that seemed to reach every person in the arena, Gladys Love Presley vanished, leaving behind only the lingering scent of gardenias and 20,000 witnesses to a miracle. The mysterious woman who appeared at Elvis's concert that night changed not just his life, but the lives of everyone who witnessed the impossible reunion. Though skeptics would later claim it was an elaborate hoax or mass hallucination, the 20,000 people present never doubted the supernatural encounter they had experienced together. Have you ever witnessed something that defied explanation? What messages from beyond would transform your life? Share your own mysterious experiences in the comments below, and join the thousands who believe that love truly transcends death itself.